Hi everyone, my name is Anthony Jung and I'm the Executive Chef of Retail Dining at the University of Massachusetts, and today I'm going to show you one of our most popular vegetarian entrees, roasted butternut lasagna. Alright, so let's take a look at some of the ingredients that we'll be utilizing in today's recipe. We have a local Hadley butternut squash there, some sage leaves, a local onion, and some garlic cloves. Alright, so let's start with some of the prep work. I've got a couple of cloves of garlic here. Just going to give it a whack there. Take the skin off again for the last one. Alright, we're just going to give it a rough chop. I'm just going to put in our container here. Next, for the onion, we're just going to take the top off, the bottom off, and we're only going to need half of this. Just give it a couple slices. For more slices, we'll have a small dice. Just put that in our bowl. Whoopsie. All right, so we're just going to take our sage now. We're just going to give this a rough chop. Yeah, just get into our container here. All right, so let's start on the butternut squash here. I'm just gonna give this a peel. I'm just gonna take the top off and the bottom. What we wanna do is cut this in half. And we're just gonna take the skin off. So this is one of the things that you wanna be fairly careful about, because one little slip and you could actually cut yourself pretty bad. So this is definitely one of the areas you wanna take your time. This one comes from our good friends at Joe Sikowski's farm in Hadley. He's actually really well known for his butternut. All right, so I'm just gonna cut this half here. Cut it again. Now what we're gonna do is cut this into fairly large chunks. Oops. All right, so we've got our butternut all cut up and it's got a little bit of canola oil on it. I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt and just a little bit of water. And that's just gonna help steam the butternut ever so slightly. And then that moisture will evaporate and then we'll puree this. We've got our oven set to 350 preheated. And let's just pop this in. Should take about 40 minutes or so. We'll come back on. All right, so it's been about 45 minutes and our butternut looks like it's all solidly cooked here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put it on the stove top here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna turn the stove on and turn all three zones here. And what we're gonna do is just evaporate some of that moisture so we have a really nice puree. All right, so our pan is coming up to temperature here, and you can hear some of that sizzling and some of that moisture is evaporating. And the whole point of this is to get rid of that moisture, so we can have a really nice thick puree here. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna mash these guys, and simply just using a fork here. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're just going to add just a little bit of sugar, just a pinch of salt, and just a small little pat of butter. All right, so our butternut is just about done here. We'll add last little ingredient, and it's a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And this is going to give it a really, really nice flavor. Stir this around. All right, so let's start the sauce, and first let's turn on the heat. So let's get this up to medium high there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add some canola oil. Let's get some onions in there, and our chopped garlic. All right, so our onions have been sweating for about 4 minutes or so, and it just needs another minute or two to really draw out all the flavor. So while that's going there, I am going to make a beurre manier. And beurre manier is a flour and butter mixture, and we use it to thicken cream sauces. And really, it's just 1-to-1, 1 part butter, 1 part flour. Pretty good there. All right, we'll just push those guys off to the side. I got 3 cups of heavy cream here, which we'll now add. To our pot. All right, so I have a large pot of salted boiling water, and what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna start our pasta here. So I'm just gonna add our lasagna sheets to the pot, and we'll probably cook this for about 8 to 10 minutes. All right, so while our pasta is cooking, let me finish the sauce here. So pretty much it's come up to a simmer here. And one of the things you want to be careful about is lowering the heat, because heavy cream tends to overflow the pots at times. And I'm going to add our beurre manier. And we're just gonna whisk that. All right, and then we're just gonna add a little bit of salt. And lastly, we're just gonna add our sage here. We add it at the end so it can steep just ever so slightly in the sauce. All right, so it's been about 9 minutes or so, and our pasta is all set, ready to go. So we're just gonna strain this out, and I'll show you the next step. All right, so I've got my trusty colander there, and I'm just gonna pour out this water here. And then let's just get this. There's some cold running water here. We'll do this for another minute or two, and I'll show you the next step. All right, so let's start with grating the cheese. And normally I'll grate blocks of cheese because sometimes if you buy the shredded stuff in the store, it will have a anti-caking agent, so the cheese won't melt as well. So two of my favorites is Cabot out of Vermont, and an artisanal one out of Vermont as well as Grafton. Let's get to shredding. All right, so our sauce is done here, and let me just turn off the heat. Give it one last stir. Bring it over to the counter. I just have a hot pot. Okay, and just to finish it, we're just gonna add just a little bit of cheese, just to really enrich the sauce here. All right, so let's get started building this lasagna. So what I do with the lasagna sheets, I just cut them in half here. We've got our cheese grated right there. We've got our beautiful sauce right here. And then our roasted butternut. So let's start with a little bit of sauce on the bottom here. All right, and let's put some lasagna sheets down. I think we can get 3 across, yeah. And then some really nice butternut puree here. All right, so let's pop this guy in the oven over here. I've got it set to 350 degrees here. And normally when I bake on a cookie tray, just in case if any of the juices kind of overflow or the cheese overflows, so then it doesn't mess up your ovens. Get the oven door open. And let's put this right in there. It should take about 30 minutes to 40 minutes. It all just depends on your oven. All right, so it's been about 40 minutes or so, and let's take a look. Ooh, all right, that looks pretty good. Obviously, it's way too hot to eat. We'll let this cool down, but in the meantime, hopefully you found this video educational and that you'll try this fantastic recipe at home. And if you like these videos, just comment down below. Tell me what you might like to see in the future. Maybe some of your old favorites at UMass Dining, and we'll see you next time.